It's another new dawn that comes with great opportunities for everyone, everywhere you are at, or anywhere you're watching us from, to make sure you be a part of the money making on this particular day. It is the 6th of April, that is a Wednesday, and we're happy to broadcast from you on your screen onto Smart 24 TV. Thank you for tuning in. This is SMB. I'm Rita Cabanyero. Never mind, you can continue with what you're doing, but watch us, listen to what we've got to say to you, especially on our social media platforms, because we are streaming live there, ranging from Facebook and YouTube. And when you go to YouTube, do not forget to hit the subscription button around there. Also, what you need to know is you can watch Smart 24 TV anytime and anywhere across the country by simply being a part of the Your TV app. And also you can download that through my MTN app, as well as using MTN data, because there it is always easier. So as the day kickstarts here, expect a lot from us, from me, ranging from SMB stories, whereby you'll have to explore what other people say from different sectors. And today we'll be looking out for sectors in arts, whereby you'll have to explore how the handcrafting and the sovereign union or souvenir union is yet to bring out in regards to the art sector around the country. And we will surely be as well discussing about medicine business in Uganda. How is your health going to make sure it improves during this time, during the month of Ramadan for the Muslim brothers, and also for the Christian community during the Lent period, as even we're yet to conclude it or coming close to it. And after, we'll have a look at how the weather forecast will be, because you need to know, even as you continue to work, as your day has to move on, you need to know how the day has, what comprises or what components are there to come along with the day, whether it's going to be shiny for you, whether it's actually going to be favorable for you, so that you can plan better. Look out for what we bring to you from across borders in our SMB Across Borders, where we also take a flight to what is happening away from the borders of Uganda. And in our topic today, since it's a Wednesday, we're driven by entrepreneurship as the theme, and we'll be speaking about manufacturing and also adding value to what you are manufacturing in regards to value addition, and how that chain is being kept around there. And especially for women, are you doing something for yourself? Very well. And as we speak now, let us head into our day starter, whereby we speak about the handcraft business around the country. When you look at this, the development sector is going to be supporting capacity building around exporters in the handcraft, where Uganda is striving to broaden its traditional handcraft and also souvenirs such as baskets, fabrics, wood and carpentry business around there. And this is among other products regarding key players playing from the tourism export product. This event, however, can only be achieved by organizing producer groups within communities into organized, structured association. And as we speak about this, let us look briefly on this story. We return to discuss more about handcraft around the country and how you can surely benefit from it as well.
In achieving quality insurance standards, better skills towards production and branding for the domestic, regional and international export markets, this is being tracked through the Handicrafts and Souvenir Development Project, supported by the Enhanced Integrated Framework and implemented by the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities.
So this project is very unique and important to us, because for the first time we have a project that is targeting the people that are involved in handicrafts and souvenirs. And this is very important for tourism, because every time you travel, I'm sure whenever you travel, you want to pick something from where you have been that reminds you of the places you have visited. So when people come to Uganda, they want to pick something, a souvenir. They want to pick something that is unique to Uganda, that when they go, they say, I picked this from Uganda. So you cannot divorce crafts and souvenirs from tourism.
The project seeks to respond to the government's efforts to diversify and increase exports of non-traditional exports while supporting increased job creation and employment as provided for in the Uganda Vision 2040, National Trade Policy 2008, and National Development Plan 2, among others.
Quality of the products they are making, and what kind of methods they use, what products they need. So we were able to identify that through our baseline survey, and so we were able to decide what kind of interventions then should the project engage in.
The objective of the project is to develop the handicrafts and souvenirs sector in Uganda. This is by creating linkages between the Producers Association and the traders of handcrafted products and the tourism industry to improve livelihoods for some of the most marginalized communities in the country. Key focus is on supporting production of functional items which are on demand to both the local and international buyers. The intervention places emphasis on product development and diversification, increased production and quality enhancement.
And yet you want to attract, when Ugandan tourists or travelers are coming, to be able to have a product that is from any of these regions. So that's why we looked at the craft enterprises located in the different regions of Uganda, so that we can promote the unique products from each of the regions. To specifically target groups that are around the protected areas, because we have many groups that make handicrafts and souvenirs around, but you find that they are not organized, they are not supported, maybe they don't have the capital to put in. So we want to specifically identify these groups and train them and equip them and support them to do that. Then we'll also build on the work that we had started, like the work we are doing with UNBS I talked about. We have done 7 products. We want to do many more because there are very many products. I mean, we are looking at, you are doing baskets, we are doing mats, people are doing leather products, they are doing jewelry, they are doing textiles. So we need to spread the standards and cover as many products as possible so that we can increase our capacity to export quality products. So those are some of the interventions that we'll continue with now in the Carry On project.
The project supports the capacity building to producers associations and exporters of handcrafts and souvenirs, strengthen market linkages for producers, exporters of handcrafts and the tourism, among others. Petson Mumbere, Smart 24 Prime Edition.
Petson Mumbere, they are reporting, and you also had the permanent secretary from the Ministry of Tourism, that is Doreen, highlighting how they're going to be supporting those doing handcraft, those doing souvenirs, and also putting hands on creativity industries, because this is now another insider that contributes highly to tourism around the country, because she's highlighting, according to her, when tourists come, they're at least eyeing at what is that part they're going to take away or go back home with from Uganda. And this brings me to the attention that, hey, how are you proud about your culture, or how far can you go in regards to exploring and experiencing all around, or whatever is there in your culture. And part of culture in Uganda is art, there is craft, there are people's traditions as well. So it's a lot. You can either try to explore a tradition. I don't know what tradition you're looking at. You can explore culture or craft in craft, and also there is the part of art. And being an artist there in your culture is as well it comes with expensive, because this is a cost that you have to incur, because if you need to be more unique than other people, I don't advise for you to do things that are very, very obvious to some people, but to what extent or how intensively can you add something sweet and unique into what you're doing? And all these leads to a source of inspiration for craft development. People's feelings as well here are responsive on various events of history, because when I was looking at the caps around there, when there is that molding of a pot, it relates to people's feeling. It takes you back about thinking on how you can keep water in a pot as well before even fridges came. There is that feeling of how culture, art and craft connect with people's culture and life, especially for the African community. But when you look at the environment influence on art as well as craft, it also has to be considered, even as the Ministry of Tourism is coming out to guide on people, inventing into this, people going for it. But how are we going to make sure we protect the environment again here? Because, for example, a basket weaving, I know this is made out of papyrus at some point. And if we're encouraging people to go, getting hands-on to make baskets, to make mats that are going to be attractive at the end of the day, there is going to be a depletion somewhere in a swamp, somewhere in a wetland, because papyrus is going to be, and a lot is being done, not only in mat, not only in basket, but papyrus helps a lot in regards to the art, whereby even it helps in other clothing, accompanying clothing around there. I don't know if you put on, African hats or any traditional hats around there. So you realize that a protection, an environmental protection aspect, I've not heard her mentioning that, but I feel like this is also something that should not be left behind as we consider us taking that, that path of making sure we tap into arts, we tap into culture, we tap into developing our traditions and making sure we entertain other people with what we have. And what I can also share is the crafts world, the arts world portray an immense ethnic background and also setting that makes people be stronger in what they believe in. You can imagine, I don't know the feeling you ever see when there is a function and then there are drummers, drumming there. There are people carrying onto their heads a lot of pots, pails, and they are not falling. There is that kind of entertainment that at the same time people are making money out of, and people are embracing that through their culture, but at some point they're earning a living and it's helping them thrive among others. But when you look at the domestic use and domestic exposure onto this kind of material, especially on craft. Let us now speak about craft, and we're speaking about handmade, we're speaking about what people do with their hands, how it's been consumed around the country. At least in your home, you should have something locally made, something of craft that is crafted or artistically made by, poetry or poetess, among others around there. You can be proud in a case that when someone visits your home, they feel like, they've entered an African home, and there is that attachment that comes along. But away from there, you are supporting individuals, you are supporting businesses that are into this kind of business around that projection. But also, as we speak about that, the tradition has been, according to research, it shows the tradition has been the master craft of workers and handover skills from generation to generation. So when we speak about, for example, when we go to art now, living craft, for example, shoe mending, the artistical part of it, whereby you're using your hands to weave something, you're using your your hands to make sure you mend the shoe. You're using your hands to make sure you do a lot of things with your hands. The creativeness or the creative part that comes with you playing along with your hands or legs. I've seen the disabled or the people with disability that have got no hands doing it with their legs. At least they're doing something for themselves. So it is also believed or mostly highlighted according to research, even an observation that I've seen. Because when you grow up and you're seeing your mother doing weaving, probably you're going to be one of the people learning how to weave or how to mend shoes or how to do any kind of molding around there, because you have grown in a society where people are doing that. And also away from, you know, generation to generation passing there. However, the tradition is now declining according to a research coming in from that is from the industries and culture in the country, highlighting how this tradition is declining. Why? Because now we're seeing a lot of embracement towards school. People are now in boarding school. There is no time for a sit down and, you know, people are there to discuss, looking at their mother weave, looking at their auntie's grandmother, whatsoever. The child is going to be busy, you know, doing homework. But away from that, we're also wanting to embrace other things, not what comes artistically with your hands, and not we want to embrace what is in office. Our minds, or people's minds now, most of them are situated to the situation that, hey, I'm studying to be this. I want to do art, I want to do sciences, because now nurses are being paid more. I want to do engineering. I want to go do, you know, all kind of things. And people are forgetting that, hey, how innovative you be, or with creativity, with what you've got, is actually very important, because these are skills that no one will ever steal from you. Even when something happens, or even when you get sacked from your job, for example, that means you're going to keep with that particular skill. It's going to push you. You're going to continue weaving or molding or even baking at some point, and people tend to neglect you tend to neglect a part of that, but forgetting that is a supportive skill that, hey, no one else can take away from you. But as we continue on this particular story, to understand the art, to understand the designs that come along with arts and crafts, the modern day attempt earns quick money for a living. Actually, if you're to realize that a lot of dropouts now that are dropping out, the youth especially, if they are not into this government Tuyambe thing, if they are not into crying out loud every day, someone is going to go there. Make sure, you have seen on the road, certain roads, people are just molding, making pots, people are making I can say posts, making sure they are using their hands to create something, and at the end of the day, it is somebody who is going to admire what they're doing, because you cannot do it, so all you're left with is admiring. And I don't want you to stop from admiring, but how far can you go to support that kind of speciality, that kind of art? And the Ministry of Tourism, it is why now it has realized that, hey, it is one of the ideas, one of the entries that actually is improving adventurous moments. It's improving adventurous experience. When tourists come here, one of the most things they want to live with is an African attire. One of the most things they want to go back home with is an African hat, maybe a handmade handle, maybe bracelets or anklets that are made African way. And all this is contributing widely onto the economy. It goes back to economy, how you realize that if the Ministry of Tourism is, getting some money, someone is being supported to earn a living, and the revenue collector there is at the same time, you know, making money, and all that is being supportive. In the end, the result of mass production here as well needs to be revised, because if we are now coming out to stimulate the mass to go into this kind of productivity, this kind of creativeness, this kind of innovation, we also need to support each other. This comes with skilling at some point, because we're going to end up doing the wrong things, and I don't want to speak to you and at the end of the day you go try out something wrongly. I had the permanent secretary there, Ministry of Tourism, was highlighting how government, how they are now on the run to go and skill people who are doing that already, to make sure they put them up to standard, the standard what, you know, they want. And this poses a question, how did they even realize there is a standard that is needed at some point? Because I feel like this is a creativeness that comes with nature, and everyone is there to admire, unless maybe the tourists have got, you know, some other kind of taste that needs to be added onto, you know, that Africanism or Africanity that is rotated around the artisan and rotated around the craft world that needs to be added there. Otherwise, it's a good thing to always be creative and, you know, never be satisfied with what you know, because at the end of the day there are competitors everywhere, even in arts, even in innovative world, even in entrepreneurship, agriculture. Every sector has got competitors, every sector has got competition. But how are you going to make sure you create the space whereby you're not going to be beaten up or eaten up by that competition that is going to be there? Which is why you need to be a part of the sensitizations that are going to be running around, helping you out in regards to skilling you. But what I can say, you know, sometimes entities come out, organizations come out and highlight, we're going to start skilling up people, we're going to start innovating people around in this particular sector. Sometimes they might not reach your area. And this is true. It's not that when the Ministry of Tourism has said, you know what, we're going to skill people in art, we're going to skill people in innovation, doesn't mean they're going to reach to you. But then it goes back to you. When you hear such kind of information, when you hear now there is a part of skilling that you didn't know, can you now seek, how can you as well be another part of the people that, because definitely if you're going to miss out from the group, maybe they're targeting a certain area or certain groups around different cities, around different communities in Uganda, and you happen to miss out. But you are someone in that particular sector. You are an artist. You are a souvenir doing all these souvenirs. How are you going to make sure you will be a part of this? Can you seek now the information? Which is why there is research now. Take use of Google, take use of the internet, take use of other designs, take use of seeing what other people do actually, because you seeing what other people do is going to challenge you first of all, and this is going to change your perspective. Number one, not only changing your perspective, but you're going to be changing how you are twisting the art, how you are making sure you make or mold or even you know, spin or whatever you've been spinning, or even the baking. We're speaking about how you use your hands to make money, to earn a living. Because at the end of the day, you can imagine if you're just waking up every morning to just sit, look at your dad, look at your mother, look at your sister, your spouse, at your siblings, just there. But then you've got hands. And then there are materials that are not very expensive, because I believe handcraft materials are not very expensive for you to go out there and explore. You can, I see some of them being sold around, that is Mitiana Road. around Busega. I see a lot being paid there in regards to papyrus. The reason is that if you are unable to be a part of, you do not know where to get them, there are places which sell materials where you can start from, and these are cheaply sold. So please, let's do something with your hands. At the end of the day, I know someone says always that there is going to be accountability of what you do always with your hands, with what you have, with what God provided you with, if in a case you're a believer, not a narcissist. Very well, at least we have discussed around innovation in regards to handcraft, in regards to specialization on designing skills of art, craft, traditions, and how people are skilling themselves, making sure they are not only skilling but earning money. We take a break. When we do return, we definitely fly across borders of Uganda to take a look at what is happening in that business sense around those economies. Stick with me.